Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. My name is SubZeroExtabyte and today we are going to be playing some more Roblox. Today I am going to continue the origin story of the great and elusive hacker John Doe from the Roblox game. In the last video I explained where it all went wrong for him and he lost his one true love, but now I am going to tell you the next part of the story. This is the part where he finally becomes a hacker and takes revenge on the world. It was another morning in the Roblox city and John Doe had just woken up and made himself breakfast and a wash. He was going to go to high school, but first he wanted to ride his skateboard. Since he lost Jane, John has been trying to take more risks and live a more action-packed life, so he used the skateboard as a way to actually do that. He started to love the skateboard so much that he became super attached to it and it was one of his favorite things to do. Anyways, that morning he played around on his skateboard for a little while and then checked the time. He was late for high school, so he skateboarded there quickly. Luckily he only actually lived across the road from the school, so he could easily just walk it and still make it on time. Even if he was late, sometimes he would just use the skateboard anyways to get some extra practice, and because this was back in a time with barely any players, there were literally no cars that he would have to look out for on the road. He could learn to skate and go around town all day with no worries of a crash or an accident. Now he was finally at his high school and he was totally ready. He had been coming to the school for a few years now. We all know he taught in the other school, but he left there because no one was turning up to his classes and he decided to change school and become a student rather than an actual teacher. He wanted to learn maths so that he could develop his hacking skills. He even tried to ask for the admin status in the school from the staff. That clearly shows that he is already developing skills of a hacker, trying to sneak his way into places he wasn't supposed to be. This is such a great story so far. He decided that before his first class for the day started, he was going to look around the school for a little bit, as he was not even able to get admin. He checked the toilets and some of the other classrooms. There weren't many people in the school either, to be honest, but at least there was more than in the old one. John was having a better day and a much better life. He was slightly starting to grips with the loss of Jane. He walked into the maths class and was greeted by his maths teacher. He sat down and was prepared to actually start the class and learn how to hack. The teacher in John Doe's new school was very smart. He was kind and always explained everything very well. John learned a lot in the class all about maths and numbers and sums, and he would apply this to his hacking codes on paper in class and try to attack Roblox and hack the game. The teacher, again, might I add, was very smart. So he was wondering why on earth John Doe was trying to learn so much maths, and he was quickly figuring things out. He was soon going to find something that would get John Doe in deep trouble. Suddenly he left. His teacher had just left the class for no apparent reason whatsoever. John was totally curious and decided he was going to head out of class to and find out where his teacher was going. He didn't get all the way out of bed and dressed and come to school just to have like 2 minutes of a lesson. That wasn't very good. The teacher had completely left the school and gone walking away. John was trying to be careful when following by hiding behind different stuff so that the teacher would not see him when turned around to look. I think that, to be honest, John had been very sneaky. Where on earth could his teacher have been going? He'd gone all the way up the road and totally away from the school with no explanation whatsoever. John was very confused, to say the least, and was determined to get to the bottom of what was going on. Where could he possibly be going? He had gone right past John Doe's house and right down the other street, and John was just lucky that there are plenty of objects like this tree to hide behind so he don't get caught. If the teacher caught him following secretly, he might get angry and punish him in some way or somehow. John Doe was actually having a little bit of fun, as he had sort of turned into a spy like James Bond, but in Roblox. He was following along and having a lot of fun. Suddenly, John Doe stepped on a twig and it snapped and crunched really loudly, which made the teacher stop and look around. He walked right back up to the tree where John Doe was. John had to stay silent and be so quiet. He held his breath and just hoped that the teacher would not be able to find him. Luckily the teacher didn't come close enough to see and figured it was probably nothing. Then he walked away. John continued following with all his might, attempting to hide at every possible chance. There were now only 2 trees on this road left to hide behind, and the teacher was walking all the way down the road and around the corner. What reason would a maths teacher have for randomly leaving his class with its one student to come all the way over here for no reason? Perhaps he had figured something out. Who knows? But either way, He was now turning the corner and John was ready to hide behind the last tree before running out into the open. John was fairly sure that the teacher might have just been going to the shop to get some food or clothes or something. Perhaps he spilled his coffee mug on a shirt or jumper and it was his favorite jumper, so went to go and buy another one or get it cleaned as soon as possible. That is what John thought until he saw that the teacher had totally walked past the building and gone behind it onto the rocks near the beach. This was very weird, knowing that teachers don't even leave school all of a sudden in the first place. John Doe thought to himself that if the teacher was up to no good, he was about to find out. So John Doe did what any hacker would do. He followed the teacher. John decided to keep following and hop onto the big brown rocks. Why would the teacher want to go to the beach? This was so weird for John and he had no idea what to do. The teacher, where did he just go? Did the teacher just jump down a big dark hole? It looked like some sort of mysterious cave in the middle of this rocky nowhere. What on earth was going on and why the heck would a teacher want to come here? He was going to hop down and investigate more. What is this? It's some sort of dark brown cave within the rocks, like a little passageway. What on earth? He decided to follow his teacher more and see what he actually wants with this place and why he is here. Wow. The teacher had just jumped straight into some mystery doorway. Was it a portal? Some kind of portal to a really cool world? Could it be that the teacher was also some sort of hacker? John Doe was filled with excitement as he approached the portal and prepared to jump in and find what awaited him on the other side. John opened his eyes to find himself in a jail cell. He was wearing an orange jumpsuit like a prisoner and there were hard iron bars all over the walls to stop him escaping. John was alone in a jail cell with a bed and toilet and a sink and not much else. What on earth was going on here? He just wanted to go to school and learn about math so he could become a professional hacker, but instead he followed the teacher and tried to find him. But could it be? After all of this, John Doe used his smart mind to figure out what had happened. He was pretty sure that his teacher had set him up to go to prison, but why would he do that? Oh, that's it. John Doe lit up as he realized his mistake. He was way too obvious by going to the maths class and being so open about his coding and hacking. He figured that the teacher locked him up. The teacher tricked him so that he could lock up a hacker and keep him from destroying Roblox. By clearly the teacher hadn't realized that the one and only John Doe was the kindest and most hardworking person ever. He had been playing Roblox since the very beginning and had been a model citizen at all times. Now he was a convicted criminal of some kind behind bars in a prison. Why? Why did this happen to him of all people? Did he choose the wrong lifestyle? The cell doors were now open and he could leave the cell, but he felt so betrayed by his teacher. What was John Doe going to do in prison? He couldn't learn to hack from here, so the best thing he could do was explore. He noticed that there were a lot of convicts in here and probably more people in here than were outside in the real Roblox world, which was unusual. Really unusual. Something weird was going on and he had to get to the bottom of it. Out in the yard he noticed a running machine and tried it for a little bit. Remembering that the gym helped him lose stress and relax and calm himself down, he knew what he was going to do now. He had finally found his calling. John Doe snuck back out of the yard and away from the violent prison guards that were everywhere. The plan now was to find a way into the armory so that he could act and take revenge to free all these prisoners. Clearly the teacher had been locking up all his students rather than just hackers. There's no way he could know John Doe was going to hack anything, as he wasn't a big-time hacker or famous at all. The only thing that could be possible is that the really nice teacher actually took all of his students and different Roblox people and sent them to this prison, and that is the reason why no one is ever around. John Doe had a gun now as he managed to sneak into the armory. He was burning with a new passion to rescue all of the convicts and began taking aim at all the guards in sight, shooting at them until they died. Unfortunately, John was taken out the first time, but his determination never stopped there because he just kept coming back. John Doe never gives up. Not anymore. Not the new John Doe. He needs to sneak back through the door for guns. John figured he would have to play it smarter, but eventually he would get back into that blasted armory and find some guns to help him escape this awful prison and get back home to his lovely house and then find his teacher so he can get revenge. He was going to hack his teacher. For now, John Doe was inside the cafeteria and watching the other convicts getting some horrible gooey mush for food. Not as good as cookies, that is definitely for sure. The speaker sounded and called for for yard time, so John figured he would head over to the yard and see what was happening. John decided that if he was going to take on the full prison force and all of the guards, then he was going to have to train up. The only way he could do that now that he didn't have a full gym to go to is make use of his limited yard time to ensure that he went on as many running machines as he could to train up his muscles and make them really big and strong. His muscles needed to be the biggest in the prison, and when he broke out he could take his final revenge on the whole of Roblox. Maybe he would someday be reunited with Jane. Crawling along the ground also was another good way exercise. Why don't you guys take your time to like this video for the origin story of how John Doe became the greatest hacker in the world. I am SubZeroExtabyte, and he actually told me this whole story himself and said I could share with you guys. If you like the video, it will let John and me know that you guys love where he came from and all of his backstory, and I am sure he will be very excited and happy. It will also show me if you guys are enjoying my content or not. John Doe was now trained and ready to fight with all of his might. He was going to become the bestest, but first, before he could do anything, he was going to have to wait until the door opened. He headed into the cafeteria for a bit to wait, but he wasn't going to grab anything to eat because that would be ridiculous. He was fairly sure that what they were serving here wasn't any form of actual real food. It was like some sludgy sludge and it was horrible. He decided to head back and saw that the door lock was about to be opened, so charged straight in and into the armory. The guards all noticed and he grabbed a gun as quickly as possible and opened fire. He managed to take out one guard. John was unfortunately shot and taken out and brought back out of the armory, which was a shame, but he was definitely getting better. He was so close to escaping this place and he could feel it. He was very happy and very excited for the future despite the horror and torment of his miserable and sad and lonely past. He decided to head into the yard where he saw another prisoner. The prisoner actually attacked a guard right in front of him and destroyed him with some sort of taser. This alerted all of the other guards and the prison fell into some sort of riot. John had started an uprising with all of the prisoners, and now would be a better time than any to act his revenge and try to take over the whole prison. The war was on and the battle had begun. He just needed to grab a few guns and shoot a few guards and he would be totally fine. This was his big moment and he was ready more than ever to help out and destroy the prison that his horrible maths teacher had trapped him in so unfairly. He was going to save everyone. You guys should comment how you think that John Doe is going to escape this prison and where the rest of the story is going from here. We have already seen him evolve from a normal life of a Roblox citizen to losing the love of his life, Jane, and then suddenly being thrown into a new life with a new school because no one wanted to learn from him in his computer science classes, and now after all of that he has been thrown straight into a prison by his most trusted teacher and friend, so now he is at his wit's end. It looks like nothing else could possibly happen to save him. John Doe was in the yard as the prison riot raged around him. Prisoners that were innocent were being gunned down by the corrupted guards, and John Doe decided that he would have to put a stop to it with the gun on the floor of the yard that one of the guards must have dropped. John used the gun and shot at every single guard and took them out, screaming as he did so in a furious rage. He was going to escape if it was the last thing that he would ever do. And spoilers, we know it wasn't the last thing he ever did because, as we all know, he is a massive and scary person in the Roblox community now. He even hacked me once. If you haven't seen that video, it was now John Doe's sole purpose to escape the prison through the staff door with a magical keycard. He kept killing guards and fighting them off with guns constantly. It was a raging battle and he managed to take out a good few. He jumped around like an acrobat and it worked amazingly as he shot down all of the guards and hit them all so bad. He figured that one of them would drop a keycard he could use to escape. He came so close to actually leaving the door but was shot while trying to do so, but he never gives up. He was so close to escaping. This was really getting tense, and when John Doe was actually telling me this story himself for the first time back when he hacked my account, this bit actually got me so scared and I was so excited to see if he would escape. Do you guys think he would be able to do it? There was an endless stream of guards coming out of the room and he only had a gun to shoot them. They had body armor, so it took so long to shoot them down and kill them, whereas all he was wearing was a jumpsuit which was easy to kill him with, which is why he had to be careful. Well, it seems like John got shot and was really badly injured all of a sudden, which meant he couldn't pick up or use any more guns. There were so many guards that they managed to kill almost all of the prisoners that were here in a massive massacre, and now the riot was under control and order had more or less been safely restored to the prison, which really wasn't a good thing for John Doe at all. He knew that with only a few minutes, He created the biggest riot the prison has ever seen, so imagine what he could do in just a day or so. John Doe prepared himself and was ready to take on whatever was coming for him in the future as he planned his escape. This is why John Doe turned to hacking. Do you guys want to know what happened next? Let me know in the comment section below and tell me for sure. This has been SubZeroExtabyte and thanks for watching another video.